Please use your brains, your good American common sense. If Soviet military destroys United States productive capability, maybe you'll explain me, where would they get their computers, technology, grain, billions of dollars of credit, jazz records, blue jeans, whiskey, which Comrade Andropov liked so much? Where would they get all these goodies? Okay, from Australia maybe. The main objective of communist movement is to slowly change the pattern of your society, slowly and painlessly. Meanwhile, they want to preserve your productive capability. If they are being reduced, well, maybe it's too bad, but basically they want to maintain all the juices of your society. It's simply substituting the form of the government and structure of your economical system. That's all. The main objective of Soviet KGB is not to convince you that Marxism-Leninism is better. This type of idiocy appeals only to Martin Luther King's, Jesse Jackson's, and some political science professors. The main objective is slowly, painlessly turn you from an open society, which you are now, and it's open, you can love it or leave it, to a closed society, carbon copy of Soviet socialism. Why? Why would KGB want you to be similar to my society? You ever thought about it? No, of course, because your media doesn't explain it today. All right, I'll explain it to you. The reason for trying that is to merge into one global system. And you cannot join your society with my society overnight because they are incompatible. They do not match. Imagine if we join together right now for the sake of peace, equality, progress, whatever. Tomorrow Ronald Reagan says, my dear fellow Americans, from now on we are one country. You know what will happen? What will happen? Huh? Some Russians may enjoy it. They will defect to your country and disappear, as I said, in liquor stores. But you may not enjoy it when you see a tank in your backyard, when your cars will be nationalized and your children put in a military uniform, put in a formation, and, you know, I bet you will become very emotional. But it is possible to merge our two societies slowly by introducing this type of system which I described on page 18 in my booklet, and I hope some of you picked up the diagram on the table, which is called subversion process. By mistake it is entitled disinformation process, which is similar, of course. This is what happens. I reproduce this diagram graphically in a condensed abstract form. I do it for simplicity. The reality looks, of course, more complex. But this is the basics. You can write diagrams like this for yourself. All you have to do is to put what you see in chronological order. That's all. I put it this way, and I explain it, what I was learning from the Soviet instructors for 6 years in Moscow. Open society is yours. Closed is mine. We try to turn you into closed one to merge, right? They never make any secrets about it. And believe me, some of your elitist groups do the same. They also are talking about interdependent world economy, one world government. If you think I'm crazy, go to library, subscribe to a magazine which is called Foreign Affairs, published by Council on Foreign Relations. Or read the magazine which is entitled Trialogue, published by Trilateral Commission. Read the books by Brzezinski. They openly, cynically admit that, yes, their goal is interdependent, one global village, as Carl Sagan calls it. And of course, they don't explain you that probably millions, billions of people wouldn't mind to live in one world system if it were your system. Believe me, 270 Russians wouldn't mind to live in a free market capitalist system and have a form of government which is a republic like yours. Sure, they would like to do that. But the trick is, they want one global village, which is ruled by benevolent bureaucrats and scientists, doctors, Kissingers, Jane Fondas, Daniel Ellsbergs, maybe Walter Mondale's. They will redistribute the wealth by force, naturally, okay? They will legislate equality and all other beautiful things. This is the trick. How to do it? Simple. We don't have to infiltrate agents into your governmental offices, and it is impossible. But we can infiltrate ideas into your minds through your media, through your educational system, through entertainment industry, through music even. Beatles, Schmittles, whoever. We, drop by drop, put poison into your minds. On this diagram, I select only one such idea, which is called egalitarianism. It is not new. It has not been invented by Russians, communists, or KGB. It is as old as mankind itself. No, not as old as mankind itself. Actually, the formulation of this egalitarian idea goes all the way back, I would say, French Revolution, when a group of intellectuals, who call themselves Illuminatis, decided that it is easier to control society if I convince all of you that you are equal. Meanwhile, I hope you realize that people are unequal. They never were equal. And God forbid will ever be. Some people are always tall, curly, and dumb. Others are short, bald, and smart. There is nothing like equality. If we presume that we are created by God, if God is creator of such complexity as universe, probably it wouldn't be a big deal for God to create us all equal, like ball bearings in the factories, or like ants, or cockroaches, or fishes. No! These little forms of life are equal. Mankind is not. Never was. Even fingerprints are different. Ask your policeman. Billions of people populate this planet. No two identical fingerprints. Isn't it interesting? Each one is unequal and unique. And the Illuminatis understood it perfectly well. They were intelligent people. Why they invented this nonsense? Simple, to control. It is easier to control people when they are equal and demand equal things. It is impossible to control society if you remain unequal and independently minded. Simple. What egalitarianism does is not just semantic inaccuracy. Listen carefully what it does to you. Egalitarianism, if it is legalized, legislated, and enforced by law in your country, creates false expectations and false perceptions of reality. We know people are unequal, but by law I must be equal. For equal job, equal pay, right? Why? I say no, it is nonsense. And many of you will disagree with me, especially unionized work. What do you mean, Mr. Schumer? It's a law of our country, for equal pay for equal job. Why? Imagine yourself, you do create these things, podiums, all right? You are whistling, you are very happy. You are paid $5 an hour. Fine. You are very happy. Sun is shining. The moment you realize that the same podium is created by next door unionized neighbor for $12 an hour, what do you feel? Huh? Unhappy, right? Have you ever heard about any American who wants to be equal with someone who has one popsicle less? No, you want to be equal with someone who has more, naturally. Now please explain to a dumb Russian like me, what is behind the equality in the minds of million people? What is the motivation, sentiment? What is the driving force of equality? Huh? What? Greed. Envy and greed. Something that in any civilization, through the history of mankind, in any holy scripture, is described as destructive side of human nature. Don't be greedy. Don't envy. If you are happy with $5, be happy. You don't need 12. No, we want to be equal. All right? Greed is the main negative side of human nature. Greed, ignorance, fear, egocentrism, all these things are the breeding ground for communist ideas. Greed. 6,000 years ago, Moses came down from the mountain and says, "Thou shalt not desire property of thy unionized neighbor." Huh? No? Well, 2,000 years ago, basically same message from Jesus Christ. Don't be greedy. You are a temporary tenant on this planet. You cannot take all these goodies to wherever you go. All right? Now we want to be 20 cents equal. And if we are not paid this 20 cents an hour more, we walk out to strike. If I'm a nurse, I leave patients to die for lousy 20 cents an hour more. If I'm an electrician in New York City, like it happened 3 years ago, for lousy 30 cents an hour more, I leave city without power, 5 kids frozen to death. Poor children, of course, because rich kids don't freeze, as you know. For lousy 50 cents an hour more, okay, $1 more. If I'm a truck driver, I shoot another truck driver because he wants to work and I want to bum around. I'm on strike. Are you that cruel? Are you that broke? Do you that desperately in need of 20 cents an hour more? In a super productive nation like yours, you are getting obsessed about these trifles. You are the most generous nation on earth. Through the 200 years of your history, you're always helping other people. But this is what's screwing up your minds. Égalité, fraternité, et liberté. False ideas. Artificially created, artificially, forcefully introduced by your media, by your public educational school. KGB has only to encourage this, that's all. They are not after your secrets, they are after your minds. This is what it does to you. False expectations, when they clash with reality, they create discontent and productivity goes down. Unproductive nation creates inflation, unemployment, recession, and many other unpleasant things. Of course, if government prints more money, that's also another contributing factor for inflation. Economical problems lead to social unrest, instability, and radicalism, naturally, because people become impatient. They want radical solutions. Radicalism leads to power struggle. Power struggle leads to replacement of the socio-political structure. Through revolution, civil war, or invasion, you're simply being absorbed by a neighboring state. like it happens in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The result, if that pattern goes according to communist plan, is always the same: closed society. Just the opposite. Carbon copy of my society. Now we can merge. This is what any nation can do to itself. This is what you can see on your televisions. This is what you never see on your televisions. On the other side of the diagram, 4 stages of subversion. Why? So that you will never stop going from open to closed society. Even if you change your mind halfway, even if you realize that equality is not important, no, we force you all the way down. How? First stage, demoralization, 20 years. Enough number of years to educate one generation of your students exposed to ideas of your enemy. Second stage, destabilization, 5 years. Third stage, crisis, change of the political structure. And the last one, normalization. That lasts forever. Lifetime of your children, grandchildren, and grandchildren. And that's it. And if you read this diagram carefully, if you're not that stingy to buy my booklet for $5, you can realize that media occupies only one speck, only one line in this diagram. They are being controlled by the big money. They are following the orders. They are being paid for what they are doing, not because they are dumb. Well, some of them are ignorant, yes, but not all of them, no. But if you misbehave in a network like ABC, you will be out in 2 days. If they describe what I am saying to you in positive terms, they will lose their job. This is why they are lying to you. This is why they call you democracy, whereby you are knowing perfectly well that you are a republic. This is why they invent all kind of garbage, such as redistribution of wealth, forgetting that your president, Abraham Lincoln, said, you cannot make poor people happy by robbing the rich, but you can make them happy by allowing them to work and enjoy fruits of their labor. Don't tax them to death, they'll be happy. Don't patronize blacks by giving them welfare checks. Respect them by giving them jobs, by feeling confident, constructive, accentuate the positive. You remember that song? These are interrelated things. Please believe me, these things do not happen by themselves. Nothing happens by themselves except cold or some other unpleasant things. Political things or social political changes happen in society only if they are planned and intended to happen. This is what I'm trying to explain you. Part of your problem is that you are being manipulated unknowingly, and some of your media cooperates willingly or otherwise with subverter. This is basically description of the problem. As you see, it took me almost 90 minutes to describe it. And I don't want you to go home depressed. I want you to know the solution. And it is so simple, you wouldn't believe it. It takes only seconds to explain. Have patience. Now we will go home. Where is the solution? Simple. Unscientific. It doesn't worth $8 million. It costs only $5. You know what is the solution? If you don't want to be demoralized by the subverter, all you have to do is to stay moral. That's all. Don't change. Don't rush to social progress. Bring prayer back to school. Don't rush after. Try to understand that the demoralization, the most heavy, the most long process which is incorporated in subversion, may become irreversible. Once you educate majority of your young people, they grow up firmly believing that Ronald Reagan is responsible to clean environment, and no, he's not responsible to keep defense on the top level. No. Whereby reality is just the opposite. Ronald Reagan is responsible to protect you from outside enemies, and if a Pentagon wants a $200 hammer, they must have that toy. Ronald Reagan and the federal government has no business to clean your air. Look in your own constitution. Process of demoralization. If you don't want to be demoralized and screwed up by your professors of political science who learn, as I showed on the picture from the KGB, all you have to do is to stubbornly abide by the basic moral principles of your society, which are incorporated into your constitution right here. Your basic rights. I don't have to explain you that the difference between your society and mine is basic. Your rights to live, pursue happiness, and be free is granted to you by God. Even if you don't believe in God. All right, suppose you believe firmly that your grandfathers were monkeys. Fine. But isn't it nice to wake up tomorrow morning and know firmly well that your right to live is given to you by someone you cannot re-elect? It's right here. No, you allow the deceitful idiots of your educational system and your mass media to convince your children that their rights do not come from God at all. They come from nice, smiling politicians, from civil rights movements, from Martin Luther King's, Jesse Jackson's, Walter Mondale's, Geraldine Ferraro's, Ayatollah Khomeini's, Daniel Ortega's, whoever. Like in my country, 66 million people lost their right to live because that right was given to him by Comrade Stalin, not by God. God doesn't exist. All you have to do to be immune against subversion is to stay moral. Even if you are destabilized, there is a